Welcome to Warrior Body Buddha Mind's roller bar training and roller bar Qigong. In the second part of this video, I'll explain what the roller bar is, what the training is for, and what it achieves. In this first part, we're going to talk about roller bar Qigong. Qigong means energy practice or energy work. It has many purposes, and I like to do it before and after the physical workout. Let's just explain a bit about it. The basic mechanics for this practice is to sit just comfortably on the edge of a chair in prayer position to start, with your eyes closed. You take in 3 deep clearing breaths. After the 3rd breath, you can sit there just for a few moments until you feel comfortable. Then the hands come apart. To about this level, and you begin the movements, which are up and out, down and round. It's a circular motion. Now this movement, it's not just the arms like this. I've seen people doing roller bar exercise and stuff, they're just using their arms. This is a whole body exercise, even sitting in a chair. When I'm seated here, my toes are slightly gripping the floor to activate a point on the bottom of your feet called kidney 1 point. So this, like I was saying, is a whole body movement where we're contracting and rising and sinking and expanding, coming out and down. We're using the shoulder in this movement. We're using the ribs. In Kung Fu there's many different types of power. This is deep gua, rib power. We're using the shoulders, the ribs, tian, or the lower abdomen when we're contracting. So this is the movement. We're using the spine. This exercise, the Qigong and the roller bar exercise, are a sensitivity exercise, just like in Wing Chun they have sticky hands. In Tibetan fire palm we have spider ghost hands or spider hands. And this is one of the first movements, learning sensitivity. Basically when your bridge connects with the other person's bridge is your arm. Your whole body is sensitive to it. And what we're doing here is we're programming with the physical exercise, and with the Qigong we're programming in muscle memory, or it's basically motor learning, so that what in the beginning is a conscious effort becomes an unconscious reaction. So when you're doing your movements, you can think about the roller bar. You know, you're not always going to have your roller bar with you. You could be in a hotel somewhere, on a business trip, on a holiday. There's never an excuse not to train. If you don't have your roller bar, you can do the Qigong. You can imagine connecting with the bridge of somebody, lifting up before you return. You can imagine your roller bar rolling down your arms. Eventually, you'll begin to feel energy, Qi running down your arm, shooting out as you expand out. These movements and the roller bar develop the bones in the arms as well. For example, fists aren't the only weapons. We can use the bridge of our arm, like in this movement, sinking here. You know, it sounds pretty nasty, but this grinding movement could quite easily be, you know, that could break a collarbone. So you're deflecting. With each movement, and this is done 108 times, with the rising, there's a deep breath in, and with the sinking and expanding, deep breath out. At the end, hands come back together, and it's 3 deep clearing breaths to finish. Now, like I mentioned, you're not just sitting there going like this. You think about what you're doing, what muscle groups are being used. How's your body working? How, when you're expanding, contracting, rising, falling. The repetition, I spoke about muscle memory, the repetition after a while becomes an unconscious effort or reaction. So even though you're not using heavy weights or anything like that, you're programming your unconscious mind to react smoothly. This develops power, speed, many different things. The mind's got to be relaxed in certain situations to be able to move smoothly and effortlessly with power. I remember years and years and years ago now, I was training in another system, and my instructor at the time, he was an old man. His name's Patrick Duffy. And I was pretty big back then, bigger than I am now. I used to be heavily into weightlifting. And I could bench over 300 pounds. This guy was a little guy, 5'4", something like that. And he was asking me to throw punches, and he was demonstrating a particular block. And you know, I wasn't using that much power, and he was saying, give me some more power. And so, you know, I hit him with a little bit more power, and he barely moved, and he nearly took my arm right off. And I realized through talking to him afterwards that it's not from, you know, lifting heavy weights, it's from continuous repetition of a perfect movement, and that muscle memory that enabled him to just move that quickly with that much force with minimal effort. So that concludes the rollerbar Qigong. It's very basic, but there's a lot to it. And you'll understand a bit more about yourself and your body and how it works just from those simple movements. 3 deep breaths to start. Rising and sinking. And 3 deep breaths to end. I like to have my eyes closed when I do it. I can focus more. This is an inner exercise, internal. You're thinking inside, how is the body working? Feeling. This concludes part 1. This will make more sense in part 2, where you see the physical exercise that goes with this Qigong. Welcome to part 2. This is my roller bar. Traditionally, a roller bar would have been constructed out of bamboo and the materials that were available. They're not usually this length. If you're going to make a roller bar, it could be just past shoulder width in length. This one is plastic and capped off at the ends, just PVC pipe. You can use metal, bamboo if you can find a hollow bamboo. It's full up with about 30 pounds of lead shot. Now this type of training, it develops live or functional force. We're not doing heavy weight, heavy repetitions. You know, there's a time and place for that. Whatever exercise you do, you should, or whatever you want to accomplish, you need to train specifically for that goal. You know, if I want to if I want to be good at golf. You know, I can lift weights and stuff, that's going to be beneficial, but what will probably be more beneficial is to practice the set of movements or exercises that are, you know, conducive to a golf swing. What I'm developing here is sensitivity and what we call the unstoppable punch. It's this movement, the circular movement, repetitive. It also develops strength in the arms. So I'm going to show two exercises today. There's whole routines that you can do with your roller bar. I'm just going to show two today to give you an example of what it looks like. This stuff here I might do a separate video on. We apply before and after. We do conditioning exercises, whether it's hitting a bag or, as in this instance, using a roller bar. This is called deep da jiao, or just jiao. It translates as fall and hit wine. It's a combination of different herbs that's been sat in alcohol for a period of time that has all kinds of different functions, from you know, anti-swelling, just keeping the skin smooth. When we're doing conditioning exercises, we don't want to build up big giant callous hands or bones or rough skin. So this helps with the healing part and also bringing chi and energy into the area to prepare you for your training. So I've already applied some. So this is the first exercise. You get your roller bar on your arms, and just as in the Qigong, we're going to do the same kind of movement. So I'm doing this in a just shoulder width high horse stance. You can do it in different stances, but I'm going to start with the basics. So we're just simply going to roll it forward and then let it roll back. There's two types of movement. There's linear and circular. So the circular, you're moving using more of a circular motion. Here's another exercise using a linear movement. So shooting out and then back. So we're coming up and expanding, and we're coming back and sinking. So these movements are done typically for 108 reps each. So 108 of these, 108 of these. You can do them in sets of 36 or just a continuous 108. Do it at least once every day, preferably after the Qigong. That concludes part 2.